Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. I'm here. Sorry I'm a little bit late. Had some internet troubles or connection troubles. But I'm here. It is Monday, July 7th, 2025. If you have questions, you may ask me your questions. If you just want to listen to other people's questions, that's fine too. Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Hello, Elnobi and Mona and Akshat and Mora and Anis. Hello. Okay, I'm waiting. Does anybody have any questions today about English or life? All right, well, I'll just wait here until I hear some questions, or you can talk to me. You can also just chat, you know. Oh, there we go. I have my first question finally. Thank you, Elnobi. Are songs helpful for learning English? Are songs helpful for learning English? They can be, yes. They can be helpful because they're fun and you can remember them, right? There are many studies that show that music is a really effective way of remembering things. For example, music connects to your brain far more deeply than most things do. So there are many examples of people who have Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease is the disease that makes you forget things as you get older, right? And you start forgetting everything. You forget your name, you forget who you are, you forget your family, you forget everybody. But do you know what they can remember? They forget everything else, but if you ask them to play a song, if you start playing music and they used to play music, then they can play music again. Or if you ask them to sing a song that they used to sing, they can't remember everything else, but they can remember that song. And that's because music connects very deeply, deeply with our brain. So, in that way, yes, music can be very helpful for learning English, and it's fun. And if it's fun and you like it, then you're more likely to do it. But, you need to remember that music is like an art. Well, not like an art. It is an art. Music is an art. And with an art, you don't have to follow that you listen to are not going to use proper English. They will have a lot of slang, maybe improper grammar, maybe strange pronunciation. So, songs can be helpful, but I don't think that you should use them as the only way that you learn English. Definitely not. Okay? I wonder if I can find that video. Let's see. Here it is. I found it. Watch this video for just a quick second. One moment. Let me share my screen so you guys can see. So this is a video of a man who he's blind and he had a stroke, and so he is not able to communicate almost at all. But I think this was the video I saw. Watch. Oh wait, no. Sorry. Try again. This one. Where's the sound? What happened to the sound? Ah, there it is. Hello? Why are you... There we go. So he can't even see the keyboard, and he can barely communicate. But look, his hand is finding all the right notes. He can't use his other hand, but he's able to use the one hand and still play beautifully. That's because music is such a deep, deep, deep connection in your mind. Okay, so that's why music is a good way to learn, or using music. Okay? Hello, Betty. Rhythmic text always can be so useful. Sure, yeah. Rhythm also plays a big, important role in helping you remember things. It does. Okay, once again, if you have questions about English, ask me. What are your problems with English? Tell me what they are, and I will help you with them. But I cannot help you if you do not tell me. So if you do not tell me, then I will sit here like this. Do you know what this is called? This is called twiddling your thumbs. I'm twiddling my thumbs. That's what we say when we're like, stop twiddling your thumbs. It means stop just sitting there doing nothing. Twiddling your thumbs. Aloha, thank you. I'm glad you think so. Hello, Belen. How is my sister from another mister? Hello, Murshid. You're packing, so it really means I'm super happy and excited. Okay. And I can't remember, where are you going again? You're going to Ireland, right? I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. I wish I could go, but I can't. I get vacations once every 5 years of my life. Maybe, if I'm lucky. Oh, where is that? Lanzarote Island. I don't know where that is. I've not heard of there before. All right, let's see. Amin says, how can I remember the meaning of words? Amin, you can remember the meaning of words if you actually look deeper at the meanings of the words. Okay? So you are trying to memorize the words, and that's why you're having a hard time, because memorizing is a terrible way to learn, and it's boring, and your brain doesn't like boring. You think it's the fastest way. That's why you do it. So you memorize because you think memorizing is fast. But the rule of learning is this: you forget the words that you memorize because the faster you learn, the faster you forget. The slower you learn, the slower you forget. So, if you slow down and try to find a better way to learn, you will remember. If you keep going fast, then you'll keep forgetting and trying to learn, and forgetting and learning, and forgetting and learning, and forgetting and learning. Okay? So memorizing is a terrible way. Okay? Murshid says, my problem is pronunciation. Can you tell me a little bit more about pronunciation, Murshid? What exactly is your problem with pronunciation? Can you tell me more? Harry asks, is watching CNN news useful for improving English skill? I get 10% about the news now. Yes and no, Harry. I think if you're at that level, I think there are much better places that you can go to practice listening, okay? One of them would be, well, you can use ChatGPT or DeepSeek. If you can talk to it, that would be great. The other way to do it is, there is there's a website that I use sometimes. I can't remember what it's called now, though. One moment, let me find it again. Let's see. Here it is. You can go to this website. This website is a podcast that has news, but it's news slowly. They speak slowly. Okay, so that's why it's called News in Slow English. All right, they have a bunch of languages that they do this with. All right, so you can go there, and there's another one that I use also called ESL-lab.com. ESL-lab. ESL Lab is Randall's ESL Lab is a listening lab. They have a lot of free listening exercises, and I like those because they're actually, how do I describe this? They're not very clear. So if you really want to challenge your listening, you can go to Randall's, because Randall's has a lot of examples of conversation, natural conversation, which means it's pretty fast, and they might use slang or an accent, and there might be background noise like cars or people in a restaurant. So it's much more realistic practice because the quality of sound is actually not that good. So it forces you. Okay, so I think you should spend time with two sources of listening materials. One with a very high quality source that's slow and that you can understand well, okay? And two, with a source like Randall's that makes you work a little harder, okay? So there you go. All right, what's the next question? Let's see. How do I like resting? How did I enjoy my rest, you mean, I think? I'm fine, and it was good. Thank you for asking. What's the difference between eligible and qualified? Let me think about that for a moment. Sometimes nothing. So, 有时候就是一样的意思，有时候就是差不多的意思. So, eligible is, like, for example, the one difference that I can think of, eligible and qualified are often the same. Like, he's eligible for this position, he's qualified for this position, like a job. That one you can interchangeably use pretty often. But eligible could be one where perhaps you entered some sort of a game to win a prize, right? So you wrote your name down and your phone number down, and they said, oh, you can win this car. But then they have a list of things that says, to be eligible, you must be there. You must be 18 years old. You must blah, blah, blah. You must, blah, right? So that's the only thing I would say would be different. We wouldn't use the word qualified in that situation most of the time. Let me check on one other thing very quickly. Right, that's exactly what I was trying to say. Right, so eligibility determines whether you can apply for something, right? Are you eligible to apply for this college? Are you eligible to apply for this job? Qualified is more like, do you meet the standards that are necessary, right? So eligible is, so it's like, do you have the qualities that are necessary, right? But qualifications is more like a standard, right? Okay, so for example, do you meet the basic criteria for participation, right? Like a job post or something like that. Like, are you 18 years old? Right? So 18 years old would be an eligibility, but maybe it's a job that you need to have a degree. So if you don't have a degree, then you aren't qualified. Okay? If you don't know this particular program they need you to know, then you aren't qualified, right? So you might be eligible for the job, but not qualified for the job. Okay? I hope that helps. Canary Islands. Okay, gotcha. Well, I'm super jealous. Take some pictures for me. Hello, Stephen. Hello, Mahdi. Ahmed asks, what's the most effective way to memorize words? The most effective way to memorize words is to not memorize words. Don't memorize. That's a terrible way. Do another way. Okay? And if I know you want to know what way, but I get asked this question so much. So, here's what I'm going to do. Today, I'm going to make a video and I'm going to explain how you should learn vocabulary words. And from now on, I'm not going to answer that question anymore. I'm just going to tell you to go watch my video. All right? I'm kind of tired of explaining it, to be honest with you. But the main point is very simple. Please listen very carefully. I'm going to use my God voice for this so that you understand very clearly. Memorizing is the worst way to learn. Don't memorize. It's just lazy learning. All right, let's see. Mahdi says, I have a problem with conversation. I understand you, but I can't answer. Well then, Mahdi, that means that you don't practice English enough in your mind. If you practiced English in your mind more often, then English would feel comfortable. And then you'll feel comfortable replying to people. But if you never think in English, then you will never be comfortable with English when you speak, because your English is not ready. So if you practice thinking in English, then you keep your English ready so that when someone speaks to you, you can. All right? But if you never think in English, then yeah, when someone speaks to you, it scares you because you're not ready. Okay? Hazal says, do you think it's a good way to study 5 words each day with information and details about the words such as meaning and also using them? Yeah, that's a better way than just memorizing for sure. Okay, but, all right. Why do I wear a cap? I don't know, because I put on a hat today. There. Is that better? I put on a hat. That's why I wore a cap. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. Let me check the comments very quickly. Okay. So I said I wasn't going to explain about it, but I'm going to explain about it. So, how many of you want to know how to learn vocabulary? How many of you want to know a better way to learn vocabulary? Anyone? Me. Okay, so I'm going to try to explain it to you. All right? I'll do it as quickly as I can, so please pay attention. Please pay attention. I use 4 ways, 4, for learning vocabulary. I do not use memorizing. Okay? So here are the 4 ways to learn vocabulary that actually work. All right? The number 1 way to learn vocabulary, and this is the way that every native speaker learns vocabulary. The number 1 way is read. Read, 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 read. Yes, reading is easily the number 1 way to learn vocabulary. Why? Because when you read, you're learning words as part of a story. And that means that you connect the story with the word so you can remember it. Okay? So, do you guys know what a slipper is? What is a slipper? What is a slipper? What is a slipper? Do you guys know what a slipper is? It's now when we talk about a slipper, it's a shoe we wear at night, right? Maybe you're walking around the house at night and you've got these little comfortable shoes on inside for inside. Those are slippers. That's right. So maybe you are reading the story of Cinderella. Do you guys know the story of Cinderella? In the story of Cinderella, the prince has to find the girl who had the little glass slipper. So if you're learning that word in the context of the story, oh, it's a slipper, it's a shoe. He's putting the slipper on her foot. Ah, I see the picture in my mind now. Because you see the picture in your mind, you will remember. It's called contextual learning. Contextual learning, okay? So, read, read, read. That's the number 1 way to learn vocabulary. Number 2, the second way, and another great way to learn vocabulary, is to use a thesaurus. Go to thesaurus.com. This is thesaurus.com. I'm going to show you thesaurus.com. Thesaurus.com is a free website. And what is a thesaurus? A thesaurus is a book of synonyms and antonyms. So synonyms means words that mean the same thing, right? So this is a great way to learn vocabulary because now you can type in a word that you know. So let's type in the word angry. Oops, let's go over here again. Here we go. All right, so we've got angry. Everybody knows angry, right? But let's go down. What about these words? Do you know these? Do you know annoyed? Do you know bitter? I feel enraged. I feel exasperated, furious, heated, impassioned, indignant, irate, irritable, irritated, mad, offended, outraged, resentful, sullen, uptight, affronted, antagonized, chafed, choleric, convulsed, cross, displeased, ferocious, fierce, fiery, fuming, galled, hateful, hot, huffy, ill-tempered, incensed, inflamed, infuriated, irascible, ireful, maddened, nettled, piqued, pissed off, provoked, put out, raging, riled, sore, splenetic, storming, sulky, vexed, and wrathful. Now, do all of these words mean exactly the same thing as angry? No, they don't. They don't mean exactly the same. Words are like families, right? So there are some words that are like twins. They mean the same thing. But there are some words that are like a brother or sister. Some words are cousins or uncles or aunts, right? So some have a close relationship and mean almost the same thing, and some are just like in the same family as angry. All right? So the name of this website is right there, thesaurus.com. thesaurus.com. And it's also a dictionary. Look, you can go here, dictionary.com, thesaurus.com, dictionary.com, thesaurus.com. And you can even listen to the sound of the word, you know, whatever. There's a lot you can do here. So this is a great way to explore vocabulary. Type in a word you know and find a word that you didn't know that means the same thing. Okay, that's a great way to build your vocabulary, by building on words you already know. All right? Yeah, tagliatelle. Hello, Fred, how are you? All right, so thesaurus.com, that is the second best way. The word thesaurus, actually, the original meaning of the word thesaurus means treasure. So you can think of a thesaurus is like a book of treasures. It's words that you didn't know about. Okay? They're words you didn't know about. Okay? So, that's the second one. All right? The third way to learn vocabulary is by topic. By topic, by topic, by topic. Okay? A dictionary is a terrible way to learn words because a dictionary, the topics are by alphabetical order. That's the only way to find words, is by looking for them in alphabetical order. That's not a good way to connect them to your mind at all. But if you type in a word like science vocabulary, biology vocabulary, sports vocabulary, right? And you can use a very broad, big word, right? Like sports, or you could make it smaller, like soccer vocabulary, or soccer uniform vocabulary, right? Type in a word and then find the words that are related to that topic, right? By topic. Because then you're learning, again, a way to connect them. You're connecting the words. That's why you'll remember them. All right? That's the third way, by topic. Okay? And then the fourth way to learn vocabulary is by something called etymology. Etymology means the history of words and where they come from and how they've changed over time. All right? And this is one of my hobbies. All right? I'm going to show you another website that you can go to called Etymonline. Etymonline.com. Go to etymonline.com, and this is a free website right here. I'm going to show it to you now. Okay, it's an online etymology dictionary. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is I'm going to show you some fun words. So for example, let's look at the word, let me find a good one. Let's look at the word souvenir. Souvenir. Here's the word souvenir. Do you guys know what a souvenir is? When you go traveling, maybe you buy a souvenir, right? Yes, it's French. Yes, that's correct. And the word souvenir is actually a word that comes from the Latin word subvenire, which means to come to mind. Sub means down from below, right? So it comes from below, and then it comes up. Venire, to come. So when you buy a souvenir, if you go to Paris and you see the Eiffel Tower, and maybe you buy a little keychain or a postcard, that is a souvenir. And what does a souvenir do? This is a thing that when you see it, it brings something up out of your mind. It pulls it up into your mind. It reminds you. That's what it does. That's what a souvenir is something that reminds you. And it means to pull a memory up. Okay? So that's a pretty cool one, right? Let's see. How about another one? Let me do another one. Let's look at the word... let's look at the word dessert. What is a dessert? Whoops. What is a dessert? This is another French one. Refrain. Another French one. Dessert is a word that means when we eat dessert, it's like ice cream or cake or something like that, right? It's the end of the meal. It's something sweet we have at the end of the meal, right? That's the dessert. And that's what the word dessert means, is in French, the word actually means to clear the table, desservir, which means to unserve, right? So why do we say dessert is that? Because when you finish your dinner, they take away your plates and then they bring dessert. So before they can bring dessert, they need to unserve your meal, to take away your plates, to clear the table. All right, that's cool. Now you'll remember the word dessert. Okay? So, 60% of English words come from Latin or Greek. 30% of English words come from French. 20% of English words come from German. We have many English words that come from Arabic and Persian and Hindi and Chinese and Japanese and Spanish and Italian. We have words that come from many languages. Okay? And if you find out where the word is from, it can help you understand the meaning, it can help you understand the spelling and the pronunciation. Okay? If you know it's a French word, you'll start to understand how those words are pronounced. If you know it's a German word, you'll start to understand how those words are pronounced and spelled, right? When I see certain spellings, I know what language it is, what language it comes from. Just by the spelling, I can say, oh, that's a German word. Oh, that's a French word. Okay? Yeah, if there's a silent S or a T, it's French, right? Like in any words that end with ETTE at the end of them is French. If you have a word that has the EAUX in it, that's French. Lots of the EAU words are French. So there are certain things that you can recognize over time. You start to see patterns. Okay? All right, so that is my explanation of how to learn vocabulary that's better. Let me give you one final explanation of why this is a better way than memorizing. Okay? I know most of you are going to say, but no. What you just said is too much work. That's too much work. I don't want to do that much work. All right. So let me explain why this is less work than memorizing. Okay, when you memorize, you forget. How do I know that? Because every single time I turn on this camera, somebody asks me, how could I remember the words better? Because I forget them every time I memorize them. How can I memorize words better? How can I memorize words better? How can I memorize words better? People ask me that question all the time. So maybe memorizing doesn't really work very well, does it? If everybody's asking me about why it's not working, then maybe it doesn't work. Okay? So, this is the way I think about this process. Words are like people. If you spend time with people, you will remember them. If you spend time with words, you will remember them. So, for example, if I come to your city, if I'm in your city and I walk down the street and you're walking down the street and I'm walking down the street and you see me and I see you, but we don't say anything to each other, and when I don't wave to you, you don't wave to me, you're not going to remember me. Okay? We didn't spend any time together. You're not going to remember me. But if I wave to you, maybe you remember me for a few hours. If I introduce myself to you and say, hi, my name's Mark, maybe you remember me for a few months or a year. If we go have lunch and talk and I ask you about where are you from and tell me about your family and your job, and you ask me about my family and where I'm from and my job, are you going to forget me if you have lunch with me? No, probably not. So words are the same way. If you spend time with the word, you will remember the word. If you don't, you won't. Okay? And memorizing is like you decided to go to lunch with that word. And instead of talking, you could learn about the word and then you'll remember. But instead of doing that, you want to memorize. So instead of talking to the word, you just stare at the word and you say it over and over again. Right? So you could talk to the word and ask it questions, but instead you just look at it, and let's say the word is microphone. You're learning the word microphone. So you decide to say, oh, microphone, 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 microphone. Oh, please, please remember the word microphone. Please remember it, please. That's what you're doing when you memorize. It's hoping to remember. That's the definition of memorization. From now on, when somebody asks you, what does memorizing mean? Here is your new definition. Memorization is hoping that you remember. That's what it is. It's a system of hoping. Please, please don't forget. Please, please, brain, please don't forget these words. All right? So don't memorize. Okay? Don't memorize. All right. See, now you must understand why I'm tired of answering that question now. I've answered that question 1,000,000 times. Oh. Very funny, Maura. Very funny, Maura. All right, let's see. Did I miss any other questions? Let me go back and check. Please be patient. And by the way, if you are in my room, I do have one very simple rule here. If you are not paying attention to me, then I am not paying attention to you. So if you come into my room and ask to talk to me when I'm in the middle of something, I'm not going to talk to you because you're rude and you're interrupting me and you're not respectful of my time. Okay? Can I play the drums? Alexandra, I can, but not today. There are some technical issues I've had recently that it's not really a good, I can't really play the drums with a quality of sound that I like. So, yeah, it's technical, but I'm still working on fixing some of my equipment to make it work right. All right? So hopefully I'll have it fixed at some point in time. I'm supposed to get a new mixing board sent to me sometime, but I'm still waiting. I've been waiting for a couple of months for it to come. And once it comes, then I should be able to play music again. Okay. Now, let's go back and check the comments one more time. Hello to all the new people. All right. Bellin. Yeah, etymology, if you start getting into finding some fun stories, then you want to find more fun stories. Yeah. How long have I learned Chinese? A long time. A long time. I'm self-taught mostly, almost entirely, but it's like 10 years. A long time. I started learning Chinese a long time ago. And that's why I say I suck. I'm pretty good if I've only been speaking for a year, but I've been speaking for 10 years, so in that case, I'm terrible. All right, let's see. When you speak English with someone, you're confused and you feel afraid. Mahdi, that's just normal. That's called being a human being. You're just nervous. And Mahdi, that's like every time you have a conversation with someone, you are seeing a dark tunnel that you have to drive through. Okay? It's a dark tunnel. And if you've never gone through a dark tunnel before, then you're scared. You're nervous. But after you go through a dark tunnel the first time, and then you get through and you say, oh, well, that wasn't that bad, right? It was scary at first, but then I got through it, so now I think I'm okay. And the next time you see a tunnel, you're not that scared anymore. That's the same thing, the same way that conversations are. The more you have them, the more relaxed you will be, just like going through a tunnel or going over a bridge. The first time you're always nervous. Okay? Lorena says, how can I improve my spoken English? I can understand it, but I find it very hard to express myself. Lorena, it depends. I don't know enough about you, Lorena, but my guess is going to be that the reason why you can't express yourself is because you rarely use English in your mind. Okay? If you want to feel comfortable with English, you have to use it, but you never speak it because you never have an opportunity. So because you never speak it, you never use it at all. But you can. You just have to learn how to think in it, right? Think the words that you want. Okay? So if you go to the market, think in English. Okay? If you watch TV, think in English. If you make breakfast, lunch, and dinner, think in English. Can you? If you can, then you'll feel more comfortable expressing yourself. Okay? You can practice expressing yourself with your mind. That's how you'll feel better expressing yourself with your mouth. Okay? All right, Egg says, why does margin mean the blank border around the page and also profit? Okay, there are reasons for that, but they are separate reasons. One has a background of grammar, and the other one is a background of finances. But here's the reason why. Egg, a long time ago, we didn't use computers for writing down finances, right? We used books, actual books. They would call the books. Let me look at the books means let me look at the finances. Okay, that's the way we used to talk about things because we used real books to write things down. And guess what? On one side of the paper, the one side over here was profit. So that was the margin. On the far side was the margin of the paper. So that's where the financial part comes, right? And the original word margin, meaning the part around the paper, is because the original meaning was the edge of a sea or lake, okay? It comes from the Latin word marginum, which means edge. Yeah, so the original meaning of margin is actually the margin of the lake, okay? Or the margin of the sea, meaning the edge, okay? So margin means the edge of the paper, and in the financial books, profit was written on the far right side in the margin. Okay? What's the difference between another and other? Another means one more of something. Other means a different one. So if I say, I want another glass of water, that means one more glass of water. If I say I want the other glass of water, that means, oh, no, 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 that's not my glass of water. No, 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 not that one. I want the other one. That one. Okay? Other can also mean something different. Okay? So another is one more, and other is a different one. All right? All right. Hello, Carlos from Rio. You're a tour guide. Welcome. I'm drinking iced coffee. How to learn prepositions. Everyone has different meanings. Danny, yeah, prepositions can be difficult because many prepositions, you could choose more than one to describe something. Okay? And they would all be correct. They just describe things in different ways. So the problem with prepositions are they have a lot of nuance. Nuance is a word that means small differences, subtle small differences, okay? And if I say I'm at the store, I'm at the store, okay? You have a general idea where I am. If I say I'm in the store, now I'm at the store, but I'm in the building. I have now told you more information. At the store, I could be in the parking lot. Maybe I just pulled up. I just came to the store. I parked my car, and you called me, and you say, "Where are you?" And I'm at the store. I'm not in it, but I'm at it. Okay. If I said I'm on the store, now that would be different. Now I'm on top of the store, on the building, on the roof, right? So those are not incorrect. It's just different, right? It's just telling you a different piece of information. Okay? But what I would say is it takes a lot of practice, but ChatGPT is a great way to practice these. Ask ChatGPT to make some English preposition exercises for you. It will make them, and you can just do them. If you practice doing exercises, preposition exercises with ChatGPT every day for a month, you'll be fine. You will not have any problems anymore. Just do it every day for 1 month, practicing with ChatGPT. Okay? I promise you'll be fine. All right? Okay, please be patient. There are a lot of comments. Do I think that it's important to go to a country to learn the language because you can practice it every day? Christine, I think that would be great. If you could do that, then do. I just think it's a stupid or silly thing to suggest. Like, oh, well, the only way that you can really learn a language well is if you move there. Most people can't move there. So that doesn't mean you can't learn a language well. So, Christine, 现在我住在美国，可是每天我可以讲中文。Okay? 如果我可以讲中文，我可以说的。Okay? So, 每天我可以练习想的。Okay? So yeah, if you can move to another country where they speak the language, good for you. Great. Do it. By all means. Please. But if you can't, then just use your mind wherever you are in a different language. Okay? Okay. You are welcome, Lorena. Can I tell you what the meaning of insatiable means? Yeah, to be satiated means I'm full. I'm full. I'm sated, I'm satiated. That means I'm full. Insatiable means I can never be full. I have an insatiable desire for learning. Means I can never get enough learning. I'm never done. I'm never bored. I always want more. That's insatiable. If you always want more and you're never full of something, then you are insatiable. Okay? Can I help for learning English accreditation? No, I can't. I'm not exactly sure what you mean. Do you mean to take a test? Like the TOEFL? Okay. If you are new, hello, my name is Teacher Mark. I am a real teacher. I have been on Hello Talk for more than 11 years. I have over 82,000 followers here. They follow me to learn English. So, follow me if you want to learn English. Okay? Christine, Arling Elio 到2020，我住在台湾，教英文，英文老师的。Okay, and now let's see. Is damning a bad word? Damn, the word damn is it's not a very bad word, but it's not a good word. But it's one that we do say, like, okay, like if I bang my head, oh, and I say, oh, damn, that hurt. Oh, damn. So it's not a bad word. If it was a really bad word, I wouldn't be teaching it to you. I wouldn't even say it. Okay, so that's a word that's not that bad. Okay, but damning itself is actually not bad at all. If I say this is damning, that means like really, for example, if I say it's damning evidence, if I have damning evidence against you, that means that I have so much proof of what you did. Damning evidence means like, oh wow, there's no way, you're definitely guilty. Yeah, you are guilty. There is no way you're not. Okay? How to journal? Maura, journaling is a great way to practice a language, because language is about expression, and a journal is like practicing thinking in the language. So absolutely, a journal is a fantastic way to practice your English every day, because that's what a journal is. You write about your day. So now you have to write about your day in English, and that means you have to figure out how. So it's good. Okay? Raymond, I can't teach you about that word here, okay? I don't teach bad words, okay? Do I think translating from our language to English is a good way to learn English? Lynn, no. I mean, yes and no. It depends on what you mean. If you mean, do I think translating from Spanish to English, like maybe you have a Spanish newspaper and you read the Spanish newspaper and try to think about what it would be in English, that is very good. But if you're saying that you're thinking in Spanish and then you try to translate to English, that is not good. You should try to learn how to just think in English without translation. Okay? Raymond, that word is a very complicated, complex word that has many, many meanings. And some of them are very bad and some of them are not. But it's very complicated to explain. Okay? And Egg has the general idea. It's an intensifier to show strong emotion. Thank you, Egg. That's a pretty good way. Yeah. A damning situation. Right. That's correct. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Good Lord. Nabil says, could I ask about what is the meaning of to be under the impression? To be under the impression means I thought. I thought you were a good person. I was under the impression you were a good person. I thought we would meet at 12 o'clock. I was under the impression we would meet at 12 o'clock. It just means I thought. Okay? An impression means a thought or a feeling. So to have an impression means I have a thought or a feeling. To be under the impression means this was the thought or feeling I was told and I am under it. That's what I believe. Okay? Let's see. Thank you, Christine. You would like to know the difference between glance, spy, and gaze. Glance is a very quick look. That's a glance. Very quick. That's it. To spy can have two meanings. One is just to see. Right? There's even a children's game that we used to play a long time ago called I Spy. I spy with my eye something that's green and purple and big. And now you have to look around and say, oh, what's green and purple and big? This is a good game for you to play. I play this with my students. I spy with my eye, and then you say something white and green and tiny. And now you have to look for something that's white and green and tiny, and you have to say, I think it's a blah, 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 whatever, right? Yeah, I spy with my little eye, that's right. Okay? So, to spy can just mean to see something, but spying also means to watch someone secretly. Okay? To watch someone secretly or surreptitiously. It's a good word, too. So, spying on someone is to watch them without them knowing. Okay? A spy is a person who watches people secretly. Okay? And then gaze. Gaze is like a... we don't use this one too often, but gaze is like a stare. Okay? To gaze at something. I gazed at the moon means almost like I stared at the moon. Okay? To gaze at her beauty, right? Means to stare at her beauty. Okay? All right. One moment, please. All right. Is there any difference between gazing and staring? Staring can be kind of negative, right? So when I was a boy, you know, your mom and dad will tell you, hey, don't stare, because it's rude, right? So, you know, you see somebody, maybe you see somebody that you've never seen before, right? You know, you see somebody who doesn't have an arm, right? When you're a child, you've never seen somebody without an arm. And now you've seen, wow, he doesn't have an arm. And you're staring at them, like, because you're curious, right? But that's considered rude. So your mom will say, hey, don't stare. That's rude. Okay, so staring is something sometimes that means you're looking at someone in a way that's not welcome. Gazing is not usually a negative thing. It's usually a positive thing. We gaze at the sunset. We gaze at a beautiful woman. We gaze at the meadow, right? So, but the word gaze, oh, let me think. Wow, complicated. Occasionally, we do use the word gaze where we say something like, let me think of a good way. He had an angry gaze. I mean, I'm just using a simple way. but an angry gaze would be a way of looking at you that looks angry. Okay, or he had a passionate gaze, right? So there's a way we can describe gaze as just a way of staring, and then you give it a modifier, you give it a qualifier somehow. Okay? Yeah, but again, Raymond, this is where English gets a little tricky because there are many words that can mean exactly the same thing sometimes, or sometimes not exactly. Okay? Can you talk about jack in English like I bought a jack? Is it Hoger or Hoger? A jack is, I'm not sure if this is what you're talking about or not, but when we say I bought a jack is usually a tool that's used to raise very heavy things like a car. So we usually say a car jack, so that means it's the thing that when your tire is flat and you need to raise the car up, you use a jack to do that. Okay? So to jack something up means it's a phrasal verb that means to raise something up. Okay? It's also a slang term. He's all jacked up means he's all excited about something. Okay? But to buy a jack means to buy a tool to raise up a car, usually. Could be there are other kinds of jacks, but that's the most common one. Okay, what's the difference between will and be going to? Not much. One moment. They're both for future actions, both of them. But will is usually for spontaneous things that are now, right? Spontaneous decisions or offers, right? While be going to is used for planned things or intentions or predictions, right? So for example, will, we might say, oh, the phone's ringing, I will get it. I will get it is for I'm spontaneously going to do it now. I will get it, right? Spontaneous, now. Or, I think it will rain later. That's a prediction. It will rain, okay? Offers, I will help you with that. I will help you with that is an offer, right? Promises, I will call you tomorrow. It's a promise or an offer, right? Requests, will you please close the door? Will you please close the door? That's a request. Refusal, I refuse. I will not do that. I will not do that, okay? And then be going to is when we say things like, I'm going to visit my parents next weekend. I'm going to is a planned action, okay? If you say I will, that's definite, but I'm going to, that's not necessarily definite. That's your plan, right? Intentions, I'm going to start exercising regularly. I'm going to, that's my intention. I plan to, right? Predictions, look at those dark clouds. It's going to rain. So you see something and you think you know what's going to happen. So again, you are predicting what's going to happen. It's going to rain. Or the near future, things like, well, just like that. It's going to rain soon. Right? Let's see. So I will finish this report by 5 p.m. Spontaneous decision and a promise. I'm going to finish this report by 5 p.m. That's a planned action or intention. So do you see the difference? I will finish this report by 5 p.m. That's a decision, it's spontaneous, and it's a promise. I will do it. But if you say, I'm going to finish this report by 5 p.m., that's a planned action, that's an intention, that's different. Slightly. Okay? All right. I'm staring into your eyes. No, that would be romantic. Yeah. Like I said, it gets tricky. It gets complicated. Some people might use the word stare in a romantic way, not a creepy way. Okay? Sketch, scribble, and doodle. Yes, they do. They are similar, but not all the same. To sketch means to draw something quickly. To doodle means to draw something, what's the right word? Frivolously. Like, I don't care, I'm just drawing. What are you drawing? Oh, just nothing. Just doodling. Doodling is just like, I'm drawing a tree here and then a happy face here, and that's doodling, right? Scribble is usually a word that means to write something pretty fast. Let me scribble this down means let me write this down quickly. Okay? Can you scribble your name really quickly? Okay? All right. All right. Would someone like to raise their hand and come on stage? Let's see. Who is this? Raise your hand if you have a question and you want to come on stage and ask me. No one? You can't understand a single word. 我觉得你胡说八道，你可以听一些，听得懂一些吗？我觉得你可以呀，试试看啊，你可以，加油！ I'm glad you think so, Raymond. Michael wants to know the pronunciation of education. Education. So the DU is like a Jew sound. Jew. Like Juro. Okay? So just say Jew, like pork. Okay? It's the same sound. Education, 住 all right? Same. 差不多. See, that's when it really helps if you know both languages. When you know two languages like that, then I can find the sounds of one language that match the sounds of another. And then it makes it a lot easier to understand. You know? Okay, hello, Mr. George. How should you use the phrasal verb make up for? Diago wants to know. To make up for something means that usually you did something wrong or you missed something somehow, right? So, for example, maybe you are a student in my class and you forgot to do your homework. Oh no, you forgot to do your homework. And then I'll say, oh, well, your mom was sick, so I'm going to let it go this time. Because your mom was sick, it's okay. But you need to do this homework assignment to make up for the last one that you missed. So to make up for something means they missed one, so now they have to do another one to replace it or to in place of, okay, what they missed, okay? Or you might say, I know I wasn't very fun last time we went to dinner. I know I wasn't very fun last time we went to dinner. So this weekend, I want to take us to the movies to make up for it. I'm going to take us to the movie to make up for it. So that means it's like to apologize. It's like you want to do something because you didn't do something well. Now you want to do something to apologize, to make up for it. Understand? Yeah, like maybe we were maybe your company was supposed to fill 1,000 orders last month, but they only did 800 orders last month. So this month we have to do an extra 200 to make up for the 200 they missed last month. Okay? To make up for it. Why do we use the word get off the train and detrain? Uh, there are always many ways to say things, Raymond, and most people just say get off the train. Detrain is a word you can use it, but it's a more formal word, right? So the people who work at the train station, they might use the word detrain. Ladies and gentlemen, please detrain. That means get off the train, right? But it's very formal, right? If it's an emergency, they're not going to say, ladies and gentlemen, please detrain. They're going to say, get off the train, right? So there is no story behind them. DE is a Latin root that means not or out of or off of or let me double check that. Hold on. In this case, let me double check what the exact meaning of oh, look at that. It's not even in my dictionary. You gotta be kidding me. Oh, interesting. It's not. Okay. Well, in this case, yeah, it means down or off of. Okay? The DE in D train. All right? What is Asia's pronunciation? Asia. It's almost the same, Mike. Again, it's got that zh sound. Okay? But it's, Mike, that sound that we do in English is very similar to the ZH sound in Chinese, like zhong, zhong, right? So when you make the sound of zhong, it's very short. But if you take it and make it longer, Asia, Asia, it's almost the same position of your mouth. Okay? It's just a longer sound, not a short one. Can I explain about especially and specially? Yes. So if I say, let me find my notes about this. I already have notes about this somewhere. There it is. So especially with an E, especially, it means particularly. So I especially like vanilla means I particularly like vanilla. That's my favorite. Okay? Or more than usual, right? So you could say, for example, let me find this. There it is. Like I love French wine, okay? Especially the red ones. So I said I like French wines. Especially the red ones, okay? So in this case, we're talking about something that is used to say very or extremely, right? Okay? If I said I love Rome, or I love New York City, or I love Paris, especially in the spring. Means it's good in the winter, but it's great in the spring. Okay? It's like a way of raising it up. Okay? I could say this test was especially difficult. This test was especially difficult. It means very difficult. Okay? But the word specially is to describe a specific purpose of something, right? A specific or special purpose for something. So the event will take place the event will take place in a specially erected tent. Okay, so they made a tent just for this thing, so it was specially erected. They wanted to do something special. Okay, so when you want to do something special, that's specially. But when you're talking about something more or particularly, then that's especially, right? So I came here specially to see you. That's a special thing I did, right? He had flowers specially flown in for the ceremony. That means he had flowers that were special that came in, okay? It was especially difficult to fly in the flowers specially. Listen, it was especially difficult to fly in the flowers specially. So, especially means particularly. It was particularly difficult to fly in the flowers as a special gift. Okay? There you go. There's your explanation. Okay. Is it St. Patrick's Day today? No, it's not. I just like this shirt. That's all. Do I know the term aesthetic? Yes. This young generation is killing me. Yeah, I know. Well, but no, good for her. That's a sign that she saw that word and she knows that word is an adult word. It's a higher level word. So when a kid uses a word like that, that's them trying to assert themselves as mature by using mature language. So it's a good thing, not a bad thing. What does aesthetic mean? Aesthetic just means the looks or appearances of something. Let's look at where that one comes from. Aesthetic comes from the Greek aesthetikos, which means of or for perception, by the senses or by the perception of things, perceptible. So yeah, again, it just means the aesthetics means the things that you can perceive or see. Okay? I don't like the aesthetics of this means I don't like the looks of this. Okay? The aesthetics of this restaurant are not good, but the food is great. That means the restaurant doesn't look very pretty, but the food is delicious. Okay? Could I clarify the pronunciation of poem and poet and other words that are related to them? Poem, poet, poetry, those are pretty standard. Poem, poet, poet. You can do it, Raymond. Just practice more. Make your mouth bigger. Make your mouth bigger. Thank you, Michael. How can I understand a movie totally without screen words? I only understand 20% in a Disney movie. How can I go through that? So what I would say is you need to watch them many times and eventually you'll start knowing more. But there is a trick that you can do. You can go online, type the name of the movie, whatever the movie is. So let's say you're doing Mulan, right? That's a Disney movie, right? So you're going to do Mulan, and you can type in the word transcript. If you do a search online for Mulan transcript, you'll find a website that will have a printout. You can download a PDF that will have all the words from the movie, everything they say in the movie, and now it's not on the screen, it's in your hands. And because it's in your hands, now you can make notes and you can read it and you can study it and you can find the vocabulary and you have something that you can hold on to like homework that makes you feel like you're actually making progress. So when people watch TV shows or movies to learn English, most of the time it's not very effective. It doesn't work very well because they don't have any method. They're just watching and hoping to learn something. And some people can, but not everyone, and it's not a very effective method. But if you get the transcript, every American TV show and movie and podcast has a free transcript online. Easy to find. Just download them. Every TV show, every movie. Okay, and then you can read the transcript and make notes about the vocabulary you don't know, or the words you need to learn the pronunciation of, or the phrases that you like that you want to remember for later. Okay, that's how you can use TV and movies better in your learning. Okay? Shouldn't it be aesthetic with an E and not with an AE? No, because it comes from the Greek word aesthetikos, which is actually AI. So the pronunciation of it is just with an E, but the AE is the spelling. Okay? So it's pronounced aesthetic, but it's AE is the spelling. Or at least that's the American spelling. I don't know if there's another spelling. Mora to use HelloTalk on my PC, I have to copy the link and then open it in a browser on my computer. Okay? Can I explain about the erudition? Roxana, what do you mean by that? You want me to explain the word erudition or erudite? It just means smart. He's very erudite, means very learned, very studied, very smart. But what is the erudition? I don't know what that is. Is that a movie or a TV show? Or I've never heard it used as the erudition. Let's see. The erudition. Is that a game or something? Oh, look at that. Yeah, that's some sort of a game. So the word erudition comes from the word erudite, and erudite just means smart or studied or learned or wise. Okay? What's the difference between a poem and poetry? Poem is singular and poetry is plural. This is a poem. I have many poems. That's a lot of poetry. It's very difficult for me to pronounce the word squirrel. Squirrel. It's hard for many people, even Americans, right? Slow it down a little bit and get the squa, 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 squirrel. Squirrel. So I try to practice it like squa and then earl. Squa, earl. Squa, earl. Squirrel. Okay? Being a nerd is a good thing. Let's see. Anesthesia. That's a little different. Yeah, but it has the same AE in it. But that's okay, Vadim. Your brain is connecting AE words. That's still good. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, take care, Raymond. All right, let's see. Did anyone else raise their hand? Nobody else has raised their hand. All right. Huang Ying wants to know if I'm just learning English now, how long will it take to speak well? I don't know, Huang Ying. It's different for every person. It's different for every person. Some people can learn very quickly. Some people, it takes a long time. It depends on how much time and effort you put into it. It depends on how much you already know. It depends on what kind of English you want to learn. Maybe you just want to learn simple, basic conversational English and you don't really care about grammar. That's not that hard. But if you want to learn academic level perfect English with perfect grammar, that's a bit more difficult. Okay, so that could take a long time. How long does it take to learn the piano? How long does it take to learn the drums? There is no answer to that. It's different for every single person. A language is the same thing as learning a musical instrument. It's different for everyone. Okay? Ruby says to be fluent in any language maybe over 10 years. I know people who have been speaking Chinese for 20 years and they're not fluent at all. That they barely speak, but they've been speaking it for 20 years. So it depends on the person. It depends on their practice. It depends on their focus. It depends on their discipline. It depends on their dedication. It depends on their environment. It depends on many, many things. Many, many, many things. Okay? But here is what I want you to know. Every week, someone asks me, how long does it take to learn English? Every week, someone asks me that. So this week, they ask me. And next week, they're going to ask me. And the week after that, they're going to ask me. And the week after that, they're going to ask me too. So here's what's happening. Okay? I'm standing at the bottom of a mountain. And I'm the guide. I'm the guide to the mountain. Now, there is a line of people. There is a line of people here in front of you who are going up the mountain. And you can see them. They're all traveling up the mountain. But you're not in line. You're not in line. No, no, no. You don't want to get in line. You want to know how long does it take to get to the top of the mountain. So you don't get in line and you don't start. You just keep asking, how long does it take? How long does it take? How long does it take? Instead of asking how long, just get in line and start. Many people, they will never start. They keep asking how long it takes, but they never actually start. The soonest way to be a success is to start. Okay? You have a question about the sound of L or I? I guess that's the L. Lena, is that the L sound you're talking about? You spoke with someone and he said just 1 month. That's complete BS. Nobody is fluent in a month. Nobody. I keep hearing there are people who will say it, but everyone who says they learned it in a month, they don't have proper respect for the actual language. That's like I've been playing drums for 35 years. It's my job. It's my career. I have played thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of drumming. But you started drums and you learned in 3 months. And now you're going to say that you're just as good as me in 3 months after I've been playing for 35 years? You realize that sounds really stupid, right? There is no way, ever, that someone can learn something in 3 months that someone else has been doing for 35 years. Okay? So anytime someone tells you that they can do it in a month or 3 months or a year, just stop listening to that person, because I promise you they are full of beep. Okay? Omar says, I feel distracted. I follow with many teachers. I feel this distracts me, and that's one of my problems. Okay, Omar, so then pick one and stop. It's very simpler, Omar. Omar, recently I found a quote that I really like. Let me see if I can find it again. One moment. I have a quote that's perfect for you, if I can find it. Oh, what is that quote? Ah, here it is. So, if a person gave away your body to a passerby, you'd be really angry, right? So, if I give your body to somebody, I'm going to give your body to that person right there. Your body is now theirs. You're angry now, right? You're mad because I gave your body away to someone else, right? So if you get mad about giving your body away, then why don't you get mad when you give your mind away to everyone and everything? This is a quote from Epictetus. Epictetus, the great philosopher. If a person gave away your body to some passerby, you'd be furious. Yet you hand over your mind to anyone who comes along. So Omar, don't give your mind away to anybody who comes along. Just like you don't give your body away to anybody who comes along. Okay? Your mind and your distraction, those things are like animals that you must corral and protect and mind. Be a shepherd of your mind. Okay? Don't let the sheep go off into the distance. Keep them close. Okay? Don't let them wander off every time they see something. And the second problem is I feel lost about grammar, but I speak and listen well. Omar, grammar is something that you are always going to work on. Grammar is just like your kitchen table. The table in your kitchen. Did you clean it yesterday? Probably. Did you clean it the day before that? Probably. Did you clean it the day before that? Yeah. You clean your kitchen table every day. Why? Because it's never really done. You have to constantly clean it. That's grammar. Grammar is like the table that you have to keep cleaning. Okay? You just keep working on it. Don't worry about it, just keep working on it. BS is not bias. BS means bull. Christine, how to pronounce the word calm? Calm. Calm. Make them big AA sound. Calm. Okay? Could I write it down? Sure. Yeah. If a person gave away your body to some passerby, furious. But you, oh, yet you hand over your mind to anyone who comes along. There you go. If a person gave away your body to some passerby, you'd be furious. Yet you hand over your mind to anyone who comes along. Epictetus. What time is it? Wow, it's already an hour and 41 minutes. Again, Lena, I see your question, but I don't understand your question. You need to give me an example. Give me an example of what is confusing to you, because I don't understand your question the way you wrote it. The I sound has many ways to pronounce it. Long I, short I, and then there are some others that come up depending on the word as well. So you could have an E sound with an I. That's a complicated question to answer. I can't answer it unless you give me an example. Okay? Give me an example, then I can answer it. That written versus... Okay, so that's very simple. The second one, W-R-I-T-E-N, is incorrect. W-R-I-T-T-E-N is the correct way to write written. The second one is not correct at all. I'm still confused. Those are the same I sound. Ah, that's long and short. Right and written. So, I, Lena, there are the vowels. The vowels in English are A, E, I, O, U, right? A, E, I, O, U. Those are the vowels. But A, E, I, O, U is only one of the pronunciations. There are two. Okay, so those are called the long sounds. A, E, I, O, U. Then we have the short sounds, and they are A, E, I, O, That's A, E, I, O, U with short. Like apple. Like bed. Like big. Like bog. B-O-G, bog. And like bug. So A, E, O, A, E, I, O, U. A, E, O, A, E, I, O, U. A, E, O. Okay? I hope that explains it better. You're welcome, Lena. I'm sorry I didn't understand your question better. Let's see. What's the most effective way to study grammar? Get a good book. Do a lot of practice. And know what your weaknesses are, right? So what that means is, in grammar, what are the 3 or 4 or 5 most common mistakes you make in grammar? So there are hundreds of mistakes that anyone could make, but most people, they really only make a few mistakes, but they make those mistakes all the time. So 80% of your mistakes are just 3 or 4 or 5 problems that you need to find. And once you know what those 5 problems are, now you can focus on practicing those, and that will fix 80% of your grammar. Now there's just the 20% that you have to worry about, and that's not that bad. Okay? All right, guess what, guys? It's time for me to go. But before I go, here is my website. No, that's not what I wanted. let's go back. Let's try that again. If you want to follow me, you should. I have 82,000 followers here. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that because I want you to understand that 82,000 people think I have something to offer of value for English. Okay? I'm not bragging. I want you to understand that this is serious for me, and 82,000 people think that I'm serious about what I do. All right? So, follow me. I have a website. You can go to my website. You can subscribe to my website, and that will be good. Soon, I'm going to have many new things on my website, so you should subscribe. Okay? And there are lots of links on my website to study English for free. If you go to my website, I have lots of resources for free on my website for studying English grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, reading, writing, listening, speaking, TOEFL, IELTS. It's all there. All right. I also have my YouTube channel. Again, here is my link. There is my link. Right there is my link. Go to my link. Go to my link. Go to my link. If you go there, then you'll find my website, you'll find my YouTube, and you'll find my podcast. Okay? If you're serious about wanting to improve your English, go watch some of my videos on YouTube. Everything that I know about English, I have said on my YouTube channel. Every question you can imagine, I have answered already on my YouTube channel. But you need to have patience and dedication and discipline to go watch. If you are the kind of person who only has the attention span to watch TikTok, God help you! If you want to learn things in life, then you need to have a better attention span than only 1 minute. So once again, if you only have an attention span for TikTok, God help you. Okay? You have to if you want to learn things, people. We respect smart people because we know they had discipline and dedication and patience to learn. That's why we respect them. So, you cannot get that respect unless you are willing to have the same dedication, patience, and discipline when you learn. If you have patience and dedication and discipline when you learn, people will respect your learning. If you can only watch TikTok videos, God help us all. All right. Once again, there's my link. There's my link right there. Okay. Go check it out. Go check it out. All right. Thank you guys for watching and following. Have a good morning. Have a good afternoon. Have a good evening wherever you live. And yes, 如果你是中国人，我觉得你可以看我的 YouTube。可是你需要用好特别的魔法，VPN 的魔法，你可以啊，加油！ All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. Have a good morning. Have a good afternoon. Have a good evening.